I am here with Antina van der Veen from Bookstagrammers. Antina is the founder of the international influencer platform Bookstagrammers.com. Now they run book tours and brand campaigns for publishers, indie authors for ebooks, audiobooks, apps, libraries, online bookstores, and many other brands like Black Chateau and the BookFest who have a connection with the book loving community. Antina, hello. Thank you for
Hi,
joining us.
thanks for having me.
All right. I'm going to start with that big question. And I get it all the time. People are, they're like, what am I supposed to do on Instagram? What is Bookstagram? How do you recommend people get acquainted with the bookish environment on Instagram?
Okay, so Instagram is all about visuals and also about hashtags and finding things that are of interest to you. So when you're really interested in books, my advice is to go on Instagram and just search for the word Bookstagram because Bookstagram is like a sub community on Instagram of people that just love books and rave about them. So this is an easy way of tracking down people that are just as enthusiastic as you about books.
Oh, exactly. That is how you find your community, not only on Instagram, but on TikTok too. And I know we're going to chat a little bit about that in a bit. But first, can you just explain what influencer marketing is and how that relates to somebody who's doing influencer marketing specifically for books? And maybe even a little bit about what the difference is between somebody who's doing book marketing or influencer marketing for books on Instagram and social media compared to somebody who's reviewing books? How is that similar and how is that different?
Okay, so the similarity is that many book influencers are reviewers, but not all reviewers are influencers. So people that choose to be a book influencer are very aware of the fact that they influence their followers on what to buy next, on what to read next. So they use their social media channels to send posts about the books that they read and why they think their followers should read it as well. And they are trying to engage with their followers, talking about the book, discussing it, making videos about it in every type of way to connect with their audience, with their followers. And that way, it's very attractive for publishers and authors to talk to these influencers and see, like, hey, I got a new book. Would you like to read it and promote it to your following? Whereas a reviewer can be an influencer as well, but some reviewers, they just like to put on Goodreads what they think of a book, and that's not necessarily because they want to have discussions about it with people or that they have an Instagram account on which they engage with people. So there's a connection between both of them, but a reviewer is not per se an influencer.
Yeah. And they might be doing similar things. And in some cases, even reviewers have there's different types of reviewers too that might not ever even go on Instagram or social media. They might
Right.
be in a review on a magazine or a newspaper. So it's like concentric circles, right? There's similarities, but there's also differences on both sides.
Yes, definitely. I would think though that if you would ask a book influencer what they are doing, they will mostly say they review books because that's their thing. And from the book community, I know that they want to be as honest as possible about the books that they read. So uh, they will review definitely and start discussions about it.
Yeah. And specifically on Instagram and other visual types of social media platforms, everyone is a little different. Like you said, Instagram, very visual. Pinterest, very visual. Facebook, kind of visual. Twitter, not so much. And we'll get into that TikTok because it's its own little animal too. But what are some of the trends that you're seeing visually on Bookstagram? Because I know when I go there, the book snaps, the pictures, a lot of times it's just gorgeous. People really put a lot of time and energy into making things look very pretty, don't they?
Yeah, aesthetics are very important. Some really have like a stamp on their Instagram this is me, this is the type of visuals that I make. And so people will recognize, oh, that must be a picture from this person without even seeing the name, because they recognize the type of pictures they make. What I'm also seeing on Instagram is Instagram Reels. Reels are TikToks, but on Instagram. So short videos. And the reason why it's working so well is because I think Instagram is a bit jealous of TikTok and how well that's performing. So they're like, oh, we're going to copy that format. So they are pushing Reels onto the platform. So I see many more book influencers using Reels to promote and review their books because they know it will be pushed by the Instagram algorithm. So they get good views.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how the different social media platforms, they start off very different by establishing themselves. I'm different than everybody else because we do this, and then they start copying what somebody else is doing because they see that it works.
Yeah, right, because it works.
Yeah. Okay, you brought up TikTok again. So when it comes to trends and where people are going and book influencers are going, can you talk a little bit about Book Talk and TikTok?
Yeah, so as we all know, TikTok is very popular and it's gaining popularity every day. And many of the youngsters are on TikTok. But for the country where I live in, the Netherlands, we see from research that the 20, 30 people are also joining massively now. And what's happening there is the same as what happened with Instagram like 10 years ago. Since about a year on TikTok, there's a sub community there as well called BookTok. And people use their TikTok platform to talk about books and make short videos with sounds, because sounds are very important on TikTok. So yeah, next to the sub community that's on Instagram called Bookstagram and the sub community on YouTube, which is called BookTube, we also now have a sub community on TikTok called BookTok.
Yeah. And what kind of advice might you give to somebody who might not be that well versed in different types of social media? How do they get started or acquainted with either Book Talk or Bookstagrammers or any type of influencers on social media?
Well, just start by watching, I would say. I must say, when I take my phone and just sit for a while and I scroll through Instagram or TikTok, then just an hour has ticked away without me even knowing, because I get caught up in it. So it's a bit addictive as well. But I would say just watch and learn, and then try and do it yourself, and stay true to yourself. So don't start reading the books that are not of interest to you because it's all about those books, but stay close to you. What type of book do you like to read? And if you want to be seen, then it's best to pick books that are you, because everybody else is doing their thing, so do your own thing.
That's such great advice. I mean, if you love memoirs, then look for memoirs within either community. Just look for hashtag memoir.
Yeah,
You know,
or be the first one to start about it and find your own niche.
there you go. Now, what kind of advice might you have for somebody who loves books, they love to read, and they might want to become an influencer? What do you suggest they do?
Well, that's about the same answer as I just gave before. Just start by watching how others perform, what others people do. It's easy to just find the hashtags and check out how other people are working. Just start reading. And if you are done with your book, make a pretty picture, make a short video, and post about it. And try to ask questions and engage with other people as well. Because if you're only sending, and expecting people to answer, but then don't respond to them, then they will not respond again. It's about being part of the community, asking questions, giving answers, and then also responding if people answer to you, like in a normal day to day conversation. And sometimes that is what we forget. We are sending and not looking back because it takes time. Well, yeah, that's the thing about social media. It's social. And so you'll need to invest time to make it work.
Yeah, I say something very similar. In order to be engaging, you have to engage, you have
Right?
to reciprocate. And
Yes.
that helps too in building up your audience. If you're somebody who wants to be an influencer, you're reaching out to the bookish community who's already there and seeing what they're doing. But then, likewise, as readers and people who are going to follow you start to reach out, it's good to be communicating with them as well. Uh,
Yeah.
how important is it to have a certain threshold or number of followers in order to be considered an influencer? You know, should you have 5,000, 10,000, 100,000? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, 100,000 is a lot. We have to be realistic. We are not in fashion or makeup with influencers having hundreds of thousands of followers. So I would say that you get considered by authors, indie authors, and publishers from about 1,000 followers and up. So some people have 1,000 followers in a month. Some people, it will take more time. So the more effort you put into it, the faster you will grow and the faster you will be inside of these publishers and authors. If I speak about my own platform, bookstagrammers.com, which also includes book talkers and booktubers and book bloggers, it depends on the request by the publishers and the authors. So they will set the parameters, and some don't have minimum counts. So we welcome everyone that wants to be a book influencer to register, as long as your social media are about books, or at least one of them. You're welcome to join and see if you can get collaborations going. But the advice is to be active, to post at least once, twice a week, to engage, because the publisher or the author needs to see in your content that you're making an effort to make it worthwhile for them to send their book to you, because it's an investment for them, right? So they want to see that you're doing something good with it, with the book.
Yeah, exactly. And people can check out, you have a virtual booth here on the BookFest. Just check out Bookstagrammers. You can find the link there. You can reach out to Antina and her community and get involved in many ways. Whether you're an author or a publisher, you might want to hire Bookstagrammers and work with them that way, like we tend to do.
Mhm.
And if you're somebody who loves to read books and you want to become an influencer, well then likewise, reach out to Antina and her team.
Welcome
Antina,
to join.
thank you. Thank you for joining us and for being a presenting sponsor of the BookFest. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me, and have a lot of fun with the BookFest.
Thank you. Thank you. More BookFest adventure coming up, everyone.